Vanessa, a 42-year-old dental hygienist, was organizing patient files when her phone rang with what appeared to be her bank's customer service number. The caller identified himself as Security Specialist Rodriguez and immediately informed her that suspicious activity had been detected on her checking account, requiring immediate verification to prevent unauthorized withdrawals. Vanessa had been banking with Community Trust Bank for over 8 years and had never experienced any security issues with her account. She maintained a modest savings account and checking account that she used for regular expenses and had always been careful about protecting her financial information. Ms. Thompson, this is Rodriguez from Community Trust Bank's Fraud Prevention Department, the caller said with apparent banking authority and security expertise. We've detected unusual activity on your account, including attempted withdrawals from locations outside your normal banking area, and we need to verify your identity to prevent further unauthorized access. Rodriguez claimed that someone had attempted to access Vanessa's account from 3 different ATM locations in another state, and that the bank's security system had temporarily frozen her account to prevent fraudulent withdrawals. Ms. Thompson, our fraud detection system shows attempted access to your account from ATMs in Phoenix, Arizona, which is flagged as unusual activity since your normal banking occurs in our local area. Rodriguez continued with apparent fraud detection knowledge and geographic monitoring expertise. We've placed a temporary security hold on your account, but we need to verify your identity to ensure that you maintain access to your funds while we investigate these unauthorized attempts. Rodriguez requested Vanessa's account number, social security number, and online banking password to verify her identity and remove the security hold that was supposedly preventing her from accessing her funds. Vanessa was concerned about the reported unauthorized activity, but felt uncomfortable providing her complete banking credentials over the phone, even though the call appeared to come from her bank's official number. I'm concerned about giving my password over the phone, Vanessa explained to Rodriguez. Can I call the bank directly or visit a branch to handle this security issue in person rather than providing sensitive information over the phone? Rodriguez became urgent when Vanessa suggested alternative verification methods, claiming that the fraud investigation required immediate action and that delays could result in successful completion of the unauthorized transactions. Ms. Thompson, the attempted fraudulent withdrawals are currently being processed, and we have a limited window to prevent them from being completed, Rodriguez insisted with apparent time-sensitive security procedures and fraud prevention urgency. Our fraud prevention system requires immediate identity verification to stop these transactions, and visiting a branch or calling back could result in the unauthorized withdrawals being completed while we're waiting for verification. Rodriguez also claimed that the bank's phone system was experiencing technical difficulties and that Vanessa might not be able to reach the fraud department if she hung up and called back through the main customer service number. Vanessa felt pressured by the urgency described by Rodriguez, but was still uncomfortable about providing her banking credentials over the phone, especially her online banking password, which she had been taught never to share with anyone. Vanessa decided to hang up and call her bank directly using the customer service number printed on her debit card to verify whether there were actually any security concerns with her account. When Vanessa called Community Trust Bank's official customer service line, the representative confirmed that her account was in good standing with no unusual activity, fraud alerts, or security holds of any kind. The bank representative also explained that Community Trust Bank never requests complete banking credentials over the phone and that legitimate fraud prevention calls involve verification questions that don't require customers to provide passwords or complete account numbers. Vanessa realized that the earlier call had been from scammers who were attempting to steal her banking credentials by impersonating bank security personnel and creating false urgency about fraudulent activity that didn't exist. Vanessa contacted Rodriguez's number to inform him that she had verified the call as fraudulent, but discovered that the number was no longer in service and that her calls went unanswered. Vanessa reported the banking fraud attempt to Community Trust Bank's actual fraud department, the Federal Trade Commission, and her local police department. She learned that phone-based banking scams often use caller ID spoofing to make fraudulent calls appear to come from legitimate bank numbers. The authorities explained that legitimate bank fraud prevention involves security questions and verification procedures that don't require customers to provide complete passwords or banking credentials over the phone. Vanessa learned that bank customers should always verify security concerns by calling their bank directly using official phone numbers rather than providing sensitive information to callers who claim to represent bank security departments. The experience taught Vanessa to be suspicious of any caller requesting complete banking credentials and to always verify security concerns through direct contact with her bank using official customer service channels. Vanessa now educates her dental patients about banking fraud prevention and emphasizes that legitimate banks never request complete passwords or account credentials through unsolicited phone calls claiming security emergencies. Marcus, a 36-year-old software engineer, received an email that appeared to be from his credit union about account maintenance that would test his knowledge of legitimate banking communications and teach him valuable lessons about phishing scams targeting online banking customers. The email claimed his account required immediate verification to comply with new federal banking regulations. Marcus had been a member of Technology Workers Credit Union for 5 years and regularly used their online banking system to manage his accounts and pay bills. He had never received any previous communications about account verification or regulatory compliance issues. The email appeared professional with the credit union's logo, official-looking formatting, and detailed information about federal banking regulations that supposedly required customer account verification within 72 hours to maintain online banking access. Dear Mr. Patterson, Technology Workers Credit Union is implementing new federal security requirements that mandate customer account verification to ensure continued compliance with banking regulations. The email stated with apparent regulatory authority and banking compliance expertise. Failure to complete account verification within 72 hours will result in temporary suspension of online banking access until verification can be completed through our branch offices. The email explained that the verification process was required by the Digital Banking Security Act and that all credit union members needed to confirm their account information to maintain uninterrupted access to online banking services. The Digital Banking Security Act requires financial institutions to verify customer account information annually to prevent unauthorized access and ensure compliance with federal identity verification standards. The email continued with apparent legislative knowledge and banking regulation expertise. This verification process protects your account security while ensuring that Technology Workers Credit Union maintains full compliance with federal banking oversight requirements. The email included a link to what appeared to be the credit union's website where Marcus could complete the verification process by logging into his account and confirming his personal information, account details, and security settings. Marcus was concerned about maintaining his online banking access and wanted to comply with any legitimate security requirements, but he was also cautious about clicking links in emails that requested banking information. Marcus decided to examine the email more carefully and noticed that the sender's email address, while similar to the credit union's official domain, contained subtle differences that suggested it might not be from the legitimate credit union. Marcus also noticed that the verification link in the email directed to a website that looked similar to his credit union's official site, but had a slightly different web address that didn't match the credit union's actual domain name. Marcus decided to contact Technology Workers Credit Union directly through their official website and phone number to verify whether any account verification requirements existed and whether the email he received was legitimate. The credit union's customer service representative confirmed that no federal regulations required customer account verification and that they had not sent any emails requesting members to verify account information through external links. The representative also explained that Technology Workers Credit Union never requests members to provide login credentials or personal information through email links, and that all legitimate account communications include specific member account details that would be missing from generic phishing emails. Marcus realized that the email was a phishing scam designed to steal his online banking credentials by directing him to a fake website that would capture his login information when he attempted to complete the fraudulent verification process. Marcus forwarded the phishing email to Technology Workers Credit Union's fraud department and learned that they were aware of the phishing campaign and had been warning members about similar fraudulent emails claiming regulatory compliance requirements. Marcus also reported the phishing scam to the Federal Trade Commission and the Anti-Phishing Working Group. He learned that banking phishing scams often use official-looking emails with urgent compliance requirements to pressure customers into providing login credentials through fake websites. The authorities explained that legitimate banking communications about security requirements come through official channels and never require customers to click email links to verify account information or maintain banking access. Marcus learned that banking customers should always verify email communications by contacting their financial institutions directly through official websites and phone numbers rather than clicking links in emails that request account verification or compliance actions. The experience taught Marcus to carefully examine email addresses and website links in banking communications and to always verify security requirements through direct contact with his financial institution using official contact methods. Marcus now educates other technology professionals about banking phishing scams and emphasizes the importance of verifying all banking communications through official channels rather than responding to emails that request account verification or security compliance actions. Diana, a 29-year-old veterinary assistant, was checking her mobile banking app when she noticed an unfamiliar transaction that would test her knowledge of legitimate dispute procedures and teach her valuable lessons about fake fraud resolution scams. A $450 charge appeared on her account from a company she didn't recognize, prompting her to call what she thought was her bank's fraud hotline. Diana had been using mobile banking for several years and regularly monitored her account for any unusual activity. She maintained careful records of her expenses and was certain that the $450 transaction was unauthorized since she had never heard of Premier Services LLC. Diana searched online for her bank's fraud reporting number and called what appeared to be the official customer service line to report the suspicious transaction and request assistance with disputing the unauthorized charge. The person who answered identified himself as fraud specialist Johnson and immediately began helping Diana with her dispute claim, requesting detailed information about the unauthorized transaction and her recent account activity. Ms. Rodriguez, I can see the suspicious transaction on your account for $450 to Premier Services LLC, and this appears to be consistent with fraudulent activity we've been tracking from this merchant, Johnson said with apparent fraud investigation knowledge and transaction monitoring expertise. We can begin the dispute process immediately and have this charge reversed within 24 hours if you can verify some account information for security purposes. Johnson requested Diana's full account number, social security number, and online banking password to process the fraud dispute and initiate the charge reversal through the bank's expedited fraud resolution system. Diana was eager to resolve the unauthorized charge quickly, but felt uncomfortable providing her complete banking credentials to process a dispute, even though Johnson seemed knowledgeable about her account and the fraudulent transaction. I want to dispute this charge, but I'm not comfortable giving my password over the phone, Diana explained to Johnson. Can I dispute this transaction through my mobile banking app or by visiting a branch instead of providing my login credentials over the phone? Johnson became insistent when Diana questioned the credential requirements, claiming that expedited fraud disputes required complete account verification and that alternative dispute methods would take several weeks to process. Ms. Rodriguez, the expedited fraud resolution system requires complete account verification to process immediate charge reversals. Johnson insisted with apparent fraud resolution procedures and time-sensitive processing requirements. If you use the standard dispute process through the mobile app or branch visits, the investigation will take 7 to 10 business days, and you'll be responsible for the fraudulent charge during the investigation period. Johnson also claimed that the fraudulent merchant was known for quickly processing additional unauthorized charges, and that immediate dispute processing was necessary to prevent further fraudulent activity on Diana's account. Diana felt pressured by the urgency described by Johnson, but decided to hang up and verify the dispute procedures directly with her bank through their official customer service number. When Diana called her bank's legitimate fraud department, the representative confirmed that the $450 transaction appeared to be unauthorized, but explained that the bank's actual dispute process never requires customers to provide complete login credentials over the phone. The bank representative also explained that legitimate fraud disputes involve security verification questions but never require customers to provide passwords or complete account numbers during fraud reporting calls. Diana realized that the earlier call had been from scammers who were using her legitimate concern about the unauthorized transaction to attempt to steal her complete banking credentials under the pretense of providing fraud resolution assistance. Diana reported both the original unauthorized transaction and the fraudulent fraud resolution call to her bank's actual security department. The bank confirmed that scammers often monitor for customers who are dealing with legitimate fraud issues and target them with fake resolution assistance calls. Diana learned that the unauthorized $450 transaction was indeed fraudulent and was resolved through her bank's legitimate dispute process without requiring her to provide any login credentials or sensitive account information over the phone. The experience taught Diana that legitimate fraud resolution never requires customers to provide complete banking credentials and that she should always verify fraud assistance calls by contacting her bank directly through official customer service channels. Diana now educates other veterinary clinic staff about fraud resolution scams and emphasizes that legitimate banks provide fraud assistance through established security procedures that protect customer credentials rather than requesting complete account access information. Tyler, a 44-year-old construction project manager, received a text message about account security that would test his understanding of legitimate bank communications and teach him valuable lessons about SMS phishing scams targeting mobile banking users. The text appeared to be from his bank and claimed that suspicious login attempts required immediate account verification. Tyler had been using his bank's mobile app for several years to manage payroll deposits and business expenses. He regularly received legitimate text notifications from the bank about account activity and security alerts, making him familiar with their standard communication format. The text message appeared to come from his bank's official notification number and stated that multiple failed login attempts had been detected on his account, requiring immediate verification to prevent account suspension. Alert: multiple unauthorized login attempts detected on your account. Click here to verify your identity immediately to prevent account suspension. Link. The text message stated with apparent security urgency and account protection procedures. The message included a link that appeared to direct to his bank's website for account verification, along with a warning that failure to verify within 1 hour would result in temporary account suspension until identity could be confirmed through branch visits. Tyler was concerned about potential unauthorized access to his business account and wanted to verify his account security immediately to prevent any disruption to his payroll and business banking activities. Tyler clicked the link in the text message and was directed to what appeared to be his bank's login page, where he was prompted to enter his username, password, and additional security information to verify his identity and prevent account suspension. The website looked identical to his bank's legitimate online banking site, with the same design, colors, and security features that Tyler was familiar with from his regular mobile banking usage. Tyler entered his login credentials and was then prompted to provide additional verification information, including his social security number, mother's maiden name, and security questions to complete the identity verification process. After providing all the requested information, Tyler received a confirmation message stating that his account verification was complete and that his account access had been restored with enhanced security protection. However, within hours of completing the verification process, Tyler received legitimate alerts from his bank about actual unauthorized transactions totaling $2,800 that had been processed from his business account. Tyler immediately contacted his bank's actual fraud department and learned that his account had been compromised by criminals who had used the information he provided through the fake verification website to access his account and initiate unauthorized transfers. The bank representative explained that the text message Tyler had received was a phishing scam and that the verification website he had visited was a fake site designed to steal banking credentials from customers who believed they were protecting their accounts. Tyler learned that his bank never sends text messages with links requiring immediate account verification and that legitimate security alerts direct customers to contact the bank directly rather than clicking links to verify account information. The bank's fraud department was able to reverse most of the unauthorized transactions and help Tyler secure his account with new login credentials and enhanced security monitoring to prevent future unauthorized access. Tyler reported the SMS phishing scam to the Federal Trade Commission and his bank's security department. He learned that text message phishing scams are increasingly common and often target business banking customers who are concerned about protecting their company accounts. The authorities explained that legitimate bank security communications never include links requiring immediate account verification and that customers should always contact their banks directly through official phone numbers when they receive security alerts. Tyler learned that banking customers should never click links in text messages claiming security emergencies and should always verify security concerns by logging into their accounts directly through official bank websites or mobile apps. The experience taught Tyler to be suspicious of any text message requesting immediate account verification and to always verify security alerts through direct contact with his bank using official communication channels. Tyler now educates other construction business owners about SMS phishing scams and emphasizes the importance of verifying all banking security communications through official bank channels rather than clicking links in text messages claiming account security emergencies. Brenda, a 51-year-old school counselor, was balancing her checkbook when she discovered a discrepancy that would test her knowledge of legitimate banking procedures and teach her valuable lessons about fake check fraud targeting account holders. Her monthly statement showed a $750 deposit that she didn't recognize, followed by several small withdrawals that appeared suspicious. Brenda maintained meticulous financial records and was certain that she had not made any $750 deposits during the month in question. She also noticed that the mysterious deposit was followed by 3 withdrawals of $125, $200, and $175 that she had not authorized. Brenda decided to contact her bank to report the unexplained transactions and determine whether there had been some kind of error in her account processing or if fraudulent activity was involved in the suspicious deposits and withdrawals. While Brenda was reviewing her statement, she received a phone call from someone who identified himself as Bank Investigator Mitchell and claimed to be calling about the exact account irregularities that Brenda had just discovered. Ms. Wilson, this is Investigator Mitchell from Regional Bank's Fraud Investigation Unit, the caller said with apparent banking authority and investigation expertise. We've been monitoring your account due to suspicious activity and need your assistance in resolving a check fraud investigation that involves deposits and withdrawals on your account. Mitchell explained that criminals had been using stolen checks to make fraudulent deposits into victim accounts, then quickly withdrawing the money before the fraudulent checks were discovered by the banking system. Ms. Wilson, your account has been targeted by a check kiting scheme where criminals deposit stolen checks and then withdraw the funds before the checks can be identified as fraudulent. Mitchell continued with apparent fraud investigation knowledge and criminal activity patterns. We need to work with you immediately to reverse these fraudulent transactions and protect your account from further unauthorized activity. Mitchell requested Brenda's cooperation in reversing the fraudulent transactions by withdrawing the remaining balance from the fraudulent deposit and wiring it to a secure investigation account, where it would be held while the fraud investigation was completed. Brenda was confused by the request to withdraw money from her own account, but was concerned about being involved in fraudulent activity and wanted to cooperate with what she believed was a legitimate bank investigation. I don't understand why I would need to withdraw money from my own account for a fraud investigation, Brenda explained to Mitchell. Shouldn't the bank be able to reverse these transactions without requiring me to take any action with my account? Mitchell claimed that banking regulations required customer cooperation in fraud investigations and that Brenda needed to withdraw the fraudulent funds to prevent her from being held responsible for participating in the check fraud scheme. Ms. Wilson, federal banking regulations require customers to assist in fraud investigations when their accounts have been used for criminal activity, Mitchell explained with apparent regulatory knowledge and customer responsibility requirements. If you don't cooperate with the investigation by reversing the fraudulent transactions, you could be held liable for participating in the check fraud scheme, even if your participation was unknowing. Mitchell instructed Brenda to withdraw $550 from her account and wire it to the investigation account number he provided, claiming that this would demonstrate her cooperation with the fraud investigation and protect her from criminal liability. Brenda felt pressured by the claims about potential criminal liability, but decided to verify the investigation procedures with her bank's official customer service department before taking any action with her account. When Brenda called Regional Bank's legitimate customer service line, the representative confirmed that the transactions on her statement appeared suspicious, but explained that legitimate fraud investigations never require customers to withdraw funds or wire money to resolve fraudulent activity. The bank representative also explained that the $750 deposit was indeed a fraudulent check that had been deposited into her account, but that the bank would reverse the deposit and associated transactions without requiring any action from Brenda. Brenda realized that Mitchell was part of the original fraud scheme and was attempting to trick her into wiring legitimate money from her account by claiming that the fraudulent deposit required customer action to resolve. Brenda reported the fraudulent investigation call to Regional Bank's actual fraud department and learned that advance fee fraud schemes often involve criminals making fraudulent deposits into victim accounts and then contacting victims claiming to be investigators who need customer cooperation to resolve the fraud. The bank explained that legitimate fraud investigations involve bank personnel taking action to reverse fraudulent transactions without requiring customers to withdraw or transfer funds from their accounts. Brenda learned that banking customers should never withdraw or transfer money from their accounts based on phone calls claiming to be fraud investigations, regardless of how official the callers appear or how detailed their knowledge of account activity seems to be. The experience taught Brenda to verify all banking investigations through direct contact with her bank's official fraud department and to be suspicious of any investigation that requires customer financial action to resolve fraudulent activity. Brenda now educates other school staff about advance fee fraud schemes and emphasizes that legitimate bank fraud investigations protect customers from financial loss rather than requiring customers to transfer money to resolve fraudulent activity. Kenneth, a 38-year-old restaurant manager, was reviewing his business account when he noticed an unexpected wire transfer that would test his knowledge of legitimate banking security and teach him valuable lessons about business account takeover fraud. A $3,200 outgoing wire transfer appeared on his account that he had never authorized, prompting immediate concern about account security. Kenneth managed the financial operations for a mid-sized restaurant and was responsible for payroll, vendor payments, and daily cash management. He used online banking regularly and had established security procedures to protect the restaurant's accounts from unauthorized access. Kenneth immediately called his bank to report the unauthorized wire transfer and request assistance with reversing the transaction and securing his business account from further unauthorized activity. The customer service representative confirmed that the wire transfer had been processed the previous day and that it would need to be investigated through the bank's wire fraud department to determine whether it could be reversed or recovered. While Kenneth was on hold waiting to speak with the wire fraud department, he received a call on his mobile phone from someone who identified himself as Wire Fraud Supervisor Adams and claimed to be calling about the exact unauthorized transfer that Kenneth was reporting. "Mr. Thompson, this is Supervisor Adams from the Wire Fraud Division at Business Trust Bank," the caller said with apparent banking authority and wire fraud expertise. "We're aware of the unauthorized $3,200 wire transfer from your business account, and we're prepared to reverse this transaction immediately if you can verify your account security credentials." Adams explained that the unauthorized wire transfer was part of a coordinated attack on business accounts, and that immediate action was required to prevent additional fraudulent transfers from being processed against Kenneth's account. "Mr. Thompson, your business account is part of a targeted attack on restaurant and retail businesses in this area, and we need to implement enhanced security measures immediately to prevent further unauthorized wire transfers." Adams continued with apparent security threat knowledge and business account protection expertise. "We can reverse the $3,200 transfer and implement advanced security protection if you can verify your online banking credentials to confirm your identity as the authorized account manager." Adams requested Kenneth's business online banking username, password, and security token codes to process the wire reversal and implement enhanced account security that would prevent future unauthorized access. Kenneth was eager to recover the stolen funds and protect his restaurant's account from further unauthorized activity, but he was cautious about providing complete banking credentials over the phone, even to someone who seemed to have detailed knowledge of his account. I want to reverse this wire transfer, but I'm not comfortable providing my login credentials over the phone, Kenneth explained to Adams. Can I work with the wire fraud department through secure online messaging or by visiting a branch to handle this investigation? Adams became urgent when Kenneth questioned the credential requirements, claiming that wire fraud investigations required immediate action and that delays could result in additional unauthorized transfers being processed before enhanced security could be implemented. Mr. Thompson, wire fraud attacks move quickly, and we have a limited window to reverse unauthorized transfers and implement security protection. Adams insisted with apparent time-sensitive fraud procedures and security implementation urgency. If we don't act immediately, the criminals may process additional wire transfers before we can implement the enhanced security measures that will protect your business account. Adams also claimed that the bank's secure messaging system was temporarily unavailable due to the coordinated attack on business accounts, and that phone verification was the only method available for immediate fraud resolution. Kenneth felt pressured by the urgency described by Adams, but decided to hang up and verify the wire fraud procedures directly with his bank through their official business banking customer service line. When Kenneth called Business Trust Bank's legitimate wire fraud department, the representative confirmed that the $3,200 wire transfer was unauthorized, but explained that legitimate wire fraud investigations never require customers to provide complete online banking credentials over the phone. The bank representative also explained that wire fraud reversals involve internal banking procedures and investigation processes that don't require customer credential verification to initiate fraud recovery efforts. Kenneth realized that Adams was part of the original fraud scheme and was attempting to steal his complete banking credentials under the pretense of providing wire fraud assistance and account security enhancement. Kenneth reported both the unauthorized wire transfer and the fraudulent fraud assistance call to Business Trust Bank's actual security department. The bank confirmed that business account takeover schemes often involve criminals contacting victims to offer fraud resolution assistance as a method of stealing additional account access credentials. The bank's fraud department was able to initiate a recovery investigation for the unauthorized wire transfer and helped Kenneth implement legitimate security enhancements, including multi-factor authentication and transaction monitoring alerts. Kenneth learned that legitimate wire fraud investigations involve bank personnel working internally to trace and recover unauthorized transfers without requiring customers to provide additional account access credentials during fraud reporting. The experience taught Kenneth that business account fraud resolution never requires providing complete banking credentials and that he should always verify fraud assistance through direct contact with his bank's official business banking security department. Kenneth now educates other restaurant managers about business account takeover fraud and emphasizes that legitimate bank fraud assistance protects customer credentials rather than requesting additional account access information during fraud investigations. Patricia, a 33-year-old graphic designer, received a voicemail about account maintenance that would test her knowledge of legitimate banking procedures and teach her valuable lessons about phishing scams targeting individual account holders. The message claimed to be from her bank's automated system and requested that she call back to verify account information for annual security updates. Patricia maintained checking and savings accounts with Metro Community Bank and had been a customer for over 6 years. She regularly received legitimate automated messages about account activity and had established a pattern of recognizing the bank's official communication style and procedures. The voicemail message sounded professional and included what appeared to be Patricia's partial account number, making it seem like a legitimate communication from her bank's automated security system. Hello, this is an automated message from Metro Community Bank regarding required account maintenance for account ending in 4782. The message stated with apparent banking system authority and account-specific information. Federal banking regulations require annual verification of customer account information. Please call 1-800-555-0147 to complete your account verification within 48 hours to maintain uninterrupted account access. The message emphasized that account verification was required by federal regulations and that failure to complete the verification process within the specified timeframe could result in temporary account restrictions until verification could be completed through branch visits. Patricia was concerned about maintaining her account access and wanted to comply with any legitimate security requirements. But she was also cautious about calling unfamiliar phone numbers for account verification, even when they appeared to be from her bank. Patricia decided to compare the phone number in the voicemail with the customer service number printed on her debit card and noticed that the numbers were different, which raised her suspicion about the legitimacy of the verification request. Patricia called Metro Community Bank's official customer service number to verify whether any account maintenance or verification requirements existed and whether the voicemail she received was a legitimate communication from the bank. The bank's customer service representative confirmed that no federal regulations required annual account verification and that Metro Community Bank had not sent any automated messages requesting customers to call back for account maintenance or verification purposes. The representative also explained that Metro Community Bank's legitimate automated messages always direct customers to contact the bank through official phone numbers printed on their account materials rather than providing alternative callback numbers for verification purposes. Patricia realized that the voicemail was a phishing scam designed to trick her into calling a fraudulent phone number where criminals would attempt to steal her account information by impersonating bank representatives during a fake verification process. Patricia reported the fraudulent voicemail to Metro Community Bank's fraud department and learned that phishing scams often use partial account information obtained from data breaches to make fraudulent calls appear legitimate to targeted customers. The bank explained that legitimate account maintenance communications come through official bank channels and never require customers to call alternative phone numbers for verification or security compliance purposes. Patricia learned that banking customers should always verify account maintenance requests by contacting their banks directly through official customer service numbers rather than calling back numbers provided in automated messages claiming verification requirements. The experience taught Patricia to compare phone numbers in banking communications with official contact information and to be suspicious of any automated message requesting callback verification through numbers that don't match her bank's official customer service contacts. Patricia now educates other freelance professionals about phishing scams and emphasizes the importance of verifying all banking communications through official bank contact methods rather than responding to automated messages requesting account verification through unfamiliar phone numbers. Raymond, a 47-year-old insurance agent, discovered unauthorized online purchases that would test his knowledge of legitimate dispute procedures and teach him valuable lessons about fake merchant fraud targeting debit card users. His monthly statement showed 3 online transactions totaling $890 to retailers he had never heard of, prompting him to investigate potential card fraud. Raymond maintained careful records of his online purchases and was certain that the 3 transactions for $275, $320, and $295 to Digital Solutions Pro, Tech Advanced Systems, and Online Service Hub were unauthorized charges that had somehow been processed using his debit card information. Raymond immediately contacted his bank to report the unauthorized transactions and request assistance with disputing the fraudulent charges and securing his debit card from further unauthorized use. While Raymond was gathering his account information to call the bank, he received an email that appeared to be from one of the merchants listed in the unauthorized transactions, claiming that his purchase had been processed and providing customer service information for any questions about his order. The email from Digital Solutions Pro included an order confirmation for a $275 software purchase and provided a customer service phone number for customers who had questions about their purchases or needed assistance with product downloads and installation. Raymond called the customer service number provided in the email to inform the company that the purchase was unauthorized and to request a refund for the fraudulent transaction charged to his debit card. The person who answered identified himself as Customer Service Manager Davis and immediately offered to help Raymond resolve the unauthorized charge and process a full refund for the mistaken transaction. "Mr. Garcia, I can see your order for the software package, and it appears that this purchase was processed incorrectly due to a system error in our payment processing," Davis said with apparent customer service knowledge and transaction processing expertise. "We can process a full refund immediately and ensure that no additional charges are processed against your debit card for this mistaken transaction." Davis explained that the refund process required Raymond to verify his debit card information to ensure that the refund was credited to the correct account and that no processing errors occurred during the refund transaction. Mr. Garcia, our refund system requires verification of the original payment method to ensure that refunds are processed correctly and credited to the appropriate customer account. Davis continued with apparent refund processing procedures and payment verification requirements. If you can provide your debit card number and security code, we can process the $275 refund immediately and ensure that you don't experience any delays in receiving your money back. Raymond was eager to resolve the unauthorized charge quickly, but felt uncomfortable providing his complete debit card information to process a refund, especially since he was planning to report the card as compromised to his bank. "I'm planning to report this card as compromised and get a new card number," Raymond explained to Davis. "Can you process the refund without requiring my current card information, or can I provide alternative payment information for the refund?" Davis became insistent when Raymond questioned the card verification requirements, claiming that refund processing regulations required verification of the original payment method and that alternative refund methods would take several weeks to process. "Mr. Garcia, federal payment processing regulations require refunds to be credited to the original payment method unless customers complete extensive verification procedures through alternative refund systems," Davis insisted with apparent payment regulation knowledge and refund processing requirements. "If you don't provide your current card information for immediate refund processing, the refund will need to go through our extended verification system, which takes 6 to 8 weeks and requires extensive documentation." Davis also claimed that providing current card information for refund processing would not create any additional security risks since the refund transaction would actually remove the unauthorized charge from Raymond's account. Raymond felt pressured by the claims about extended refund processing, but decided to hang up and verify the refund procedures with his bank before providing any additional card information to the merchant customer service representative. When Raymond contacted his bank's fraud department, the representative explained that legitimate merchants never require complete card information to process refunds, and that refund processing typically involves internal merchant procedures that don't require additional customer verification. The bank representative also explained that the email Raymond had received was likely part of the original fraud scheme, and that criminals often contact victims claiming to offer refund assistance as a method of collecting additional payment information. Raymond realized that Davis was part of the fraud scheme that had created the original unauthorized charges and was attempting to steal additional debit card information under the pretense of providing refund assistance for the fraudulent transactions. Raymond reported both the unauthorized transactions and the fraudulent refund assistance contact to his bank's fraud department. The bank confirmed that fake merchant refund scams often target victims of card fraud by offering resolution assistance that actually attempts to collect additional payment information. The bank processed Raymond's fraud dispute through legitimate procedures that involved internal investigation and merchant contact without requiring Raymond to provide additional card information or deal directly with the fraudulent merchants. Raymond learned that legitimate refund processing for disputed transactions involves bank dispute procedures and merchant investigation that don't require customers to provide additional payment information to resolve unauthorized charges. The experience taught Raymond that fraud resolution never requires providing additional payment information and that he should always handle disputed transactions through his bank's fraud department rather than contacting merchants directly for refund assistance. Raymond now educates other insurance professionals about fake merchant refund scams and emphasizes that legitimate dispute resolution protects customer payment information rather than requesting additional card details to process fraud refunds. Stephanie, a 40-year-old physical therapist, received an urgent letter about overdraft protection that would test her knowledge of legitimate banking services and teach her valuable lessons about fake banking product scams targeting account holders with credit challenges. The letter claimed she qualified for immediate overdraft protection that could prevent costly fees and account closures. Stephanie had experienced occasional overdraft issues in the past due to the timing of insurance reimbursements for her physical therapy practice, and she had been interested in finding better ways to manage cash flow and avoid overdraft fees. The letter appeared to be from National Banking Services and claimed that Stephanie qualified for their emergency overdraft protection program that could provide immediate coverage for overdrafts up to $2,500 without requiring credit checks or account reviews. Dear Ms. Martinez, your banking history indicates that you qualify for immediate enrollment in our emergency overdraft protection program, which provides instant coverage for account overdrafts up to $2,500. The letter stated with apparent banking service authority and overdraft protection expertise. This program prevents costly overdraft fees and account closures while providing immediate cash flow protection for unexpected expenses or timing issues with deposits. The letter explained that the overdraft protection program was available immediately through a one-time enrollment fee of $495 that would activate lifetime protection against overdraft fees and provide emergency cash flow coverage for account shortfalls. The Emergency Overdraft Protection Program provides lifetime protection against overdraft fees and account closure issues for a one-time enrollment fee that covers all program costs and administrative expenses. The letter continued with apparent program benefits and fee structure information. Once enrolled, you'll have immediate access to emergency overdraft coverage that prevents account problems and protects your banking relationship during cash flow challenges. The letter instructed Stephanie to call the enrollment hotline within 14 days to secure her overdraft protection benefits before the limited enrollment period expired and the program became unavailable to new participants. Stephanie was interested in better overdraft protection, but was suspicious about paying a large upfront fee for a banking service that she believed should be available directly through her bank without third-party enrollment fees. Stephanie decided to research national banking services and overdraft protection programs to verify whether the offer was legitimate and whether similar services were available through her existing bank without enrollment fees. Stephanie contacted her bank directly to inquire about their overdraft protection options and learned that legitimate overdraft protection services are offered directly by banks without third-party enrollment or large upfront fees. Her bank representative explained that they offered several overdraft protection options, including automatic transfers from savings accounts and lines of credit that could be established without enrollment fees through third-party companies. Stephanie also researched national banking services online and discovered that no legitimate banking service company existed with that name and that overdraft protection scams often target people who have experienced overdraft issues in the past. Stephanie realized that the letter was from scammers who were attempting to collect enrollment fees for overdraft protection services that either didn't exist or were available directly through legitimate banks without third-party fees. Stephanie contacted the phone number in the letter to inform them that she had verified their program as fraudulent, but discovered that the number was disconnected and that the company had no legitimate contact information. Stephanie reported the fake banking service scam to the Federal Trade Commission, her state's Attorney General office, and her bank's fraud department. She learned that overdraft protection scams often target customers who have had overdraft issues and may be seeking better account management options. The authorities explained that legitimate overdraft protection services are provided directly by banks and credit unions through established account management programs that don't require third-party enrollment or large upfront fees. Stephanie learned that banking customers should always inquire about overdraft protection directly with their financial institutions and should be suspicious of any third-party company claiming to provide banking services for upfront enrollment fees. The experience taught Stephanie to research banking services through official financial institution channels and to be suspicious of any company claiming to provide banking protection services that aren't available directly through legitimate banks. Stephanie now educates other healthcare professionals about fake banking service scams and emphasizes the importance of working directly with legitimate financial institutions for account management services rather than paying third-party companies for banking protection programs. Jonathan, a 31-year-old marketing coordinator, was using an ATM when he experienced a card retention incident that would test his knowledge of legitimate ATM procedures and teach him valuable lessons about ATM skimming and card theft scams. His debit card was retained by the machine during what appeared to be a routine transaction, setting up a complex fraud scenario. Jonathan had stopped at a busy shopping center ATM to withdraw cash for weekend expenses and had used this particular machine many times without any problems. When he inserted his card and entered his PIN, the screen displayed a transaction processing message that continued for several minutes. After waiting for the transaction to complete, the ATM screen displayed an error message stating that the machine was temporarily out of service and that his card had been retained for security purposes due to a system malfunction. The error message included a customer service phone number and instructed Jonathan to call immediately to report the card retention and arrange for card recovery or replacement through the ATM servicing company. Jonathan was frustrated by the card retention but assumed that technical malfunctions occasionally occurred with ATM machines and that calling the customer service number would help him recover his card or arrange for a replacement. Jonathan called the phone number displayed on the ATM screen and spoke with someone who identified himself as ATM Service Technician Rodriguez and immediately offered to help Jonathan recover his retained card. "Mr. Davis, I can see that your card was retained by ATM unit number 4782 due to a system communication error that caused the machine to malfunction during your transaction," Rodriguez said with apparent ATM technical knowledge and machine servicing expertise. "We can release your card remotely and complete your original transaction if you can verify your account information for security purposes." Rodriguez requested Jonathan's complete debit card number, PIN, and account information to process the remote card release and complete the transaction that had been interrupted by the system malfunction. Jonathan was eager to recover his card and complete his transaction, but felt uncomfortable providing his complete banking credentials over the phone, even to someone who seemed to have technical knowledge about the ATM malfunction. "I'm not comfortable giving my PIN and complete account information over the phone," Jonathan explained to Rodriguez. "Can I recover my card by visiting a bank branch or working directly with my bank's customer service department instead of providing sensitive information over the phone?" Rodriguez became urgent when Jonathan questioned the credential requirements, claiming that the ATM servicing company needed immediate verification to prevent the retained card from being damaged by the malfunctioning machine mechanisms. "Mr. Davis, the ATM unit is experiencing mechanical problems that could damage retained cards if they aren't released quickly through our remote system," Rodriguez insisted with apparent technical urgency in card protection procedures. "If we don't release your card within the next hour using remote verification, the mechanical malfunction could destroy your card, and you'll need to wait 7 to 10 business days for a replacement card from your bank." Rodriguez also claimed that bank branches couldn't assist with ATM card retention issues because the machines were serviced by independent companies that had exclusive authority over card release and recovery procedures. Jonathan felt pressured by the urgency described by Rodriguez, but decided to contact his bank directly to verify the ATM card retention procedures and determine whether the customer service number displayed on the machine was legitimate. When Jonathan called his bank's customer service line, the representative explained that legitimate ATM card retention incidents are handled through bank customer service and that ATM machines never display third-party phone numbers for card recovery assistance. The bank representative also explained that legitimate ATM malfunctions result in customers contacting their banks directly for card replacement and that no ATM servicing company would request complete banking credentials to release retained cards. Jonathan realized that the ATM had been compromised with skimming equipment and fraudulent displays designed to steal his banking credentials when he called the fake customer service number displayed on the compromised machine. Jonathan immediately reported the ATM skimming incident to his bank's fraud department and learned that criminals often install card skimmers and fake display overlays on ATM machines to steal card information and PINs from unsuspecting customers. The bank immediately deactivated Jonathan's compromised debit card and issued a replacement card while monitoring his account for any unauthorized transactions that might have been attempted using the stolen card information. Jonathan also reported the compromised ATM to local police and the shopping center security department. The authorities confirmed that ATM skimming devices had been discovered on several machines in the area and that criminals were using fake customer service numbers to collect additional account information from victims. Jonathan learned that legitimate ATM card retention incidents should always be reported directly to the card-issuing bank and that customers should never provide complete banking credentials to phone numbers displayed on ATM machines claiming card recovery services. The experience taught Jonathan to be suspicious of any ATM that displays unfamiliar customer service numbers and to always contact his bank directly for assistance with card retention or ATM malfunction issues. Jonathan now educates other marketing professionals about ATM skimming scams and emphasizes the importance of contacting banks directly for ATM-related issues rather than calling phone numbers displayed on potentially compromised machines. Michelle, a 35-year-old nurse, received a check in the mail that would test her knowledge of legitimate payments and teach her valuable lessons about fake check scams targeting healthcare workers. The check for $2,850 appeared to be payment for a medical survey participation program that she didn't remember joining. Michelle had occasionally participated in legitimate medical research surveys through her hospital and professional nursing organizations, so receiving payment for survey participation didn't immediately seem suspicious to her. The check appeared professional with proper banking information and was accompanied by a letter explaining that Michelle had been selected for participation in a national healthcare worker survey about workplace conditions and professional development needs. Dear Ms. Anderson, enclosed is your payment of $2,850 for participating in the National Healthcare Worker Survey conducted by the Institute for Medical Research. The letter stated with apparent research organization authority and survey participation confirmation. Your responses were valuable in helping us understand the challenges facing healthcare professionals and will be used to develop programs that support healthcare worker professional development. The letter explained that the payment included a $350 participation fee and a $2,500 bonus for completing the survey within the priority response timeframe, making Michelle one of the first healthcare workers to provide feedback for the research project. The Institute for Medical Research provides priority bonuses to healthcare workers who complete surveys quickly because timely responses are essential for developing relevant professional development programs. The letter continued with apparent research methodology knowledge and participation incentive procedures. Your prompt participation earned you the maximum bonus payment available for this research project. The letter instructed Michelle to deposit the check and then contact the Research Institute to confirm receipt of payment and complete the final survey verification process that would finalize her participation in the research program. Michelle was pleased to receive unexpected payment for survey participation, but was confused because she couldn't remember participating in any survey for the Institute for Medical Research or providing her address for payment processing. Michelle decided to deposit the check and contact the Research Institute to verify the survey participation and understand how her information had been obtained for the research project. Michelle deposited the check through her mobile banking app and called the phone number provided in the letter to speak with someone about the survey participation and payment verification process. The person who answered identified himself as Research Coordinator Johnson and congratulated Michelle on completing the survey and earning the priority bonus payment for her valuable healthcare worker feedback. Ms. Anderson, thank you for participating in our healthcare worker survey and providing valuable insights about professional development needs in the medical field, Johnson said with apparent research program knowledge and survey administration expertise. We need to complete the payment verification process to finalize your participation and ensure that your responses are properly recorded in our research database. Johnson explained that the payment verification process required Michelle to purchase gift cards totaling $400 and provide the card numbers to verify that she had received the survey payment and was authorized to participate in the research program. Ms. Anderson, federal research regulations require payment verification to ensure that survey participants actually receive their compensation and that research payments are properly documented. Johnson continued with apparent regulatory compliance knowledge and verification procedures. The gift card verification process confirms that you receive the payment and prevents research fraud by ensuring that only legitimate participants receive survey compensation. Michelle was confused by the request to purchase gift cards for payment verification, but felt pressured to comply with what Johnson claimed were federal research requirements for survey participation. Michelle decided to research the Institute for Medical Research and verify whether gift card verification was a legitimate requirement for research participation before purchasing any gift cards for the verification process. Michelle searched online for the Institute for Medical Research and discovered that no legitimate research organization existed with that name, and that authentic medical research organizations don't require gift card verification for survey participation. Michelle also contacted her bank to inquire about the deposited check and learned that the check was fraudulent and would likely be returned by the banking system within a few days, making her responsible for the full amount if she had spent any of the money. Michelle realized that the fake check scam was designed to trick her into depositing a fraudulent check and then purchasing gift cards with her own money before the check was discovered to be faked by the banking system. Michelle contacted Johnson to inform him that she had verified the research institute as fraudulent, but discovered that the phone number was disconnected and that her calls went unanswered. Michelle reported the fake check scam to her bank's fraud department, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Postal Inspection Service. She learned that fake check scams often target healthcare workers and other professionals by claiming payments for professional activities like surveys or consulting work. The authorities explained that legitimate research organizations don't send unsolicited payments or require gift card verification for survey participation, and that authentic research participation involves clear enrollment procedures and proper institutional approval. Michelle learned that any unexpected check should be verified with the issuing organization before deposit, and that gift card verification is never a legitimate requirement for research participation or payment processing. The experience taught Michelle to be suspicious of unexpected payments for activities she didn't remember participating in, and to verify all research participation through legitimate institutional channels. Michelle now educates other healthcare workers about fake check scams and emphasizes the importance of verifying unexpected payments and research participation through official institutional procedures rather than assuming that professional-looking payments are legitimate. Carlos, a 43-year-old auto mechanic, received a phone call about credit monitoring services that would test his knowledge of legitimate credit protection and teach him valuable lessons about credit monitoring scams targeting consumers with credit concerns. The caller claimed that Carlos's credit file showed suspicious activity, requiring immediate monitoring protection. Carlos had been working to improve his credit score after some financial difficulties several years earlier and was interested in legitimate credit monitoring services that could help him track his progress and protect against identity theft. The caller identified himself as Credit Protection Specialist Wilson and claimed to be calling from National Credit Monitoring Services about suspicious activity that had been detected on Carlos's credit file requiring immediate protection services. Mr. Hernandez, our credit monitoring system has detected suspicious inquiries and potential fraudulent activity on your credit file that requires immediate protection to prevent identity theft and credit damage, Wilson said with apparent credit monitoring expertise and fraud detection knowledge. We can provide immediate credit monitoring protection that will alert you to any unauthorized activity and help you maintain the credit improvements you've been working toward. Wilson explained that the suspicious activity included multiple credit inquiries from unfamiliar sources and potential attempts to open unauthorized accounts using Carlos's personal information, requiring immediate credit monitoring to prevent further fraudulent activity. Mr. Hernandez, identity thieves often target people who are working to improve their credit because they know that these consumers are actively monitoring their credit and may not immediately notice fraudulent inquiries mixed in with legitimate credit improvement activities. Wilson continued with apparent identity theft knowledge and credit protection expertise. Our monitoring service provides real-time alerts about any credit activity and immediate assistance with disputing fraudulent accounts or inquiries. Wilson offered Carlos immediate enrollment in the credit monitoring service for a one-time setup fee of $199 and monthly monitoring fees of $39.95 that would provide comprehensive credit protection and fraud resolution assistance. Carlos was concerned about potential identity theft and interested in credit monitoring services, but he wanted to research the company and compare their services with other credit monitoring options before making any financial commitments. I'm interested in credit monitoring, but I want to research different options before choosing a service, Carlos explained to Wilson. Can you send me information about your services so I can compare them with other credit monitoring companies? Wilson became urgent when Carlos requested written information, claiming that the suspicious activity on Carlos's credit file required immediate protection and that delays could result in successful completion of fraudulent account openings by identity thieves. Mr. Hernandez, identity theft moves quickly, and we've detected active attempts to use your information for fraudulent accounts. Wilson insisted with apparent time-sensitive fraud prevention urgency and credit protection procedures. If we don't implement monitoring protection immediately, the fraudulent accounts could be successfully opened before we can detect and prevent them, causing serious damage to the credit improvements you've been working toward. Wilson also claimed that National Credit Monitoring Services offered exclusive protection features that weren't available through other credit monitoring companies, and that immediate enrollment was necessary to secure these advanced protection benefits. Carlos felt pressured by the urgency described by Wilson, but decided to hang up and research credit monitoring services independently before enrolling in any protection programs that required upfront fees and monthly payments. Carlos researched National Credit Monitoring Services online and discovered that no legitimate credit monitoring company existed with that name, and that many authentic credit monitoring services are available at lower costs or free through credit card companies and financial institutions. Carlos also contacted the 3 major credit bureaus directly to check his credit reports for any suspicious activity and found no evidence of the fraudulent inquiries or unauthorized account attempts claimed by Wilson. Carlos realized that Wilson was attempting to sell him unnecessary credit monitoring services by creating false urgency about credit threats that didn't actually exist on his credit file. Carlos contacted the phone number Wilson had provided to inform him that he had verified the company as fraudulent, but discovered that the number was no longer in service and that his calls went unanswered. Carlos reported the credit monitoring scam to the Federal Trade Commission, his state's Attorney General office, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He learned that credit monitoring scams often target consumers who are working to improve their credit by claiming immediate threats that require expensive protection services. The authorities explained that legitimate credit monitoring services provide transparent pricing information and don't create false urgency about credit threats to pressure consumers into immediate enrollment with upfront fees. Carlos learned that consumers can monitor their credit for free through annual credit reports and legitimate monitoring services offered by banks and credit card companies without paying high fees to third-party companies claiming exclusive protection features. The experience taught Carlos to research credit monitoring services independently and to be suspicious of any company claiming immediate credit threats that require expensive protection services to prevent identity theft or credit damage. Carlos now educates other automotive workers about credit monitoring scams and emphasizes the importance of using free credit monitoring resources and researching legitimate services rather than enrolling in expensive programs based on unsolicited calls claiming credit emergencies.